the Wizard of Menlo Park, Thomas Alva Edison.
Well, my name is Thomas Alva Edison, and I want you to know it is a real pleasure to be with you here today. Now, I was born in Milan, Ohio, February 11th, 1847, the seventh child of Sam Edison and Nancy Elliott. But don't ask me much about it. I was just a little kid at the time. I'm completely deaf in this here.
Hank does two different shows about Edison. The first is a full-length play in which Hank portrays four different people and the audience pretends to be reporters at Henry Ford's 1929 party, Light's Golden Jubilee, the 50th anniversary of the invention of the incandescent lamp. Because the reporters can ask anything and the different characters have different views of the inventor, the audience has the unique opportunity to see all sides of Edison. As one character says, the history you get depends on the questions you ask. The other version fits the more traditional Chautauqua format in which Hank performs only as Thomas Edison for 45 to 50 minutes, then answers questions from the audience as Edison, and finally answers questions as himself, the scholar-actor. The play reveals more about the man himself because you see him from several points of view. The Chautauqua performance reveals more about the inventions themselves, especially the phonograph, the light system, and the motion picture business, because that is what Edison would prefer to share with you.
Yes, they don't make music like this these days now, do they? Big hit in 1917, this one, yeah. As for the radio, I had the chance to get involved in it, and I said no. The sound quality was horrible. There were too many other people involved at the time, and I figured most people would rather select the music they wanted themselves instead of having someone else do it for them. You see what I'm saying? I had excellent reasons, but I was wrong. I should have gotten involved with it. Well,
in both presentations, the audience plays an important role.
Now, who's in charge around here? Who runs this business anyhow? Oh, yeah. This fellow over here. This is the one. No. Wait a minute. I think I recognize this fella. Were you in one of my early movies?
I don't think so.
Yeah, let me see those hands.
Okay.
Not yours, thank you very much. Ain't no engineer, I'll tell you that. I was almost shot.
Sometimes the presentation is funny.
I was working for Western Union, and I got off at midnight, and I was carrying a box down Main Street, Main and 2nd. And all of a sudden, a policeman saw me. Now, in that box, I had a science magazine, National Review. And I couldn't wait to get home to read it, and I was walking along when the policeman saw me and said, "Hey, you there, halt!" Now, since we've just met, you probably don't know that I'm a little hard of hearing. So I just kept on walking. I didn't hear him. He said, "I told you there, young fellow, halt!" Well, I still didn't hear him. So I kept on walking. At that point, he pulled out a pistol and fired it over my head. Well, it's a good thing I heard that, or you'd all be sitting in the dark. I was trying to give you a little light humor. Otherwise, I didn't know anything.
Sometimes the presentation is serious.
But maybe my most important discovery was nothing to do with the light bulb itself. It had to do with how you invent. The world was changing. You can't do it all by yourself. You need help. So what I did is I hired more of the better people, and I divide them into teams. I'd say, you work on the dynamo, and I'll come by with your team, and I'll come by and see how you're doing. You there, I'll have you work on the filament, the wire, and I'll come by and see how you're doing it. And you work on getting all the air out, the vacuum, and see how you're doing. You see what I was doing? I was inventing the research and development pattern that's in all industry today. No one does it by themselves. They have to work in a team, and I was just smart enough to realize it first.
Sometimes the presentation is provocative, as when he talks about the phonograph.
He produced the machine something like it. Then, what I did is I called all the boys in, and we all bet, because they didn't think it was possible to catch sound. Can you imagine? How do you catch sound? I am capturing sound. Oh, got away. You see that? Try again. It's not possible to catch sound. Remember something else I said. When the reasonable doesn't work, try the unreasonable. And that's what I did. I got all the boys in here. We bet cigars. One fella bet me $2. Had to turn a hand crank. I put tin foil around the outside of this drum or mantle. And then I turned and I shouted in. Do you know what I shouted? It's a nursery rhyme. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. The recording was only 10 seconds long. It had 4 grooves per inch. But then I changed the needle, because the needle that pushing in is not the same as the needle that produces the sound. And so I heard the sound, but because I'm hard of hearing, I didn't hear it. It was supposed to come out nice and loud, but I couldn't hear it. But I looked out, and there were all the boys going, ha, ha, ha. I guess
and sometimes the presentation is surprising, as when he talks about the motion picture business.
The 1890s. The first movie studio was called the Black Maria, 1893. It was quite something. Over 200 movies were produced there. Then in 1894, the first copyrighted movie, and I'll do that for you right now. I hope you're ready. Don't try this at home. Fred Ott, one of my assistants, and we had the phonograph hooked up at the same time, so it was a sound movie. I always knew movies would have sound. And it went like this. Achoo! Well, that was it. I hope you weren't expecting War and Peace. No. Remember, back in those early days, no one had even thought of telling a story. That was going to take another 8 years after that.
Edison inspires us today, not because he was a great man, but because he was an ordinary man who achieved greatness. His struggle with the invention process reminds us that we can all contribute, even if we can't be Edison himself.
It's called a vacuum. You had to create a vacuum inside the light bulb. I wasn't the first, but I made it happen. Again,
both of Hank's presentations put the tension and complexity back into history by showing the human side of Edison. The performance does not celebrate the past so much as it celebrates the potential of this moment, if we're only willing to work at it.
Now, things are a little harder today. Remember, you don't have me. I had 1,093 patents, for heaven's sakes. But remember this. If you're going to be successful, you've got to remember one rule. Change is the only constant you can count on. So you've got not to see it as a bad thing, not even a good thing. You've got to see change as an opportunity. That's what you need to think about. And I'll go further, and I hope you'll keep this in mind. You've got to educate the community about what you're up to, what you've done. Because the truth is, you are the heroes today. It's not some baseball player. You're the ones that are affecting lives on a day-to-day basis. You might not get the fame, but you should deserve a lot of the credit. And I hope you feel that credit. Now,
for more information, contact Hank Fincken at a National Theater Company of One. Thank you.